Swami, let me begin by just getting your take on the whole episode thus far and the fact that the Supreme Court has felt the need to step in. So many views coming in on this. Some saying that should the Supreme Court be staying a law passed by Parliament, others saying that the formation of committee and the members of the committee itself has a question mark over it because they've publicly endorsed the farm laws.
If I may start, I would say that, the Supreme Court has no business to be deciding what agricultural laws we should or should not have. This is the job of a government. Governments can have can have all kinds of different kinds of laws. And it is not necessary that every farmer will agree. I mean, the notion that the farmers who have blockaded Delhi represent all farmers is just a falsehood. You have the Maharashtra farmers of the Shetkari Sangathan who are dead against these Punjab Haryana farmers. You have Chengal Reddy and his Federation of Indian Farm Associations who are dead against these Punjab Haryana farmers. So please, let's not pretend in the first place that the guys who are blockading India are representing all farmers of India. They do not represent the farmers of India in a whole. They represented the vested interest of a small number of especially rich people, among the richest farmers in India. And they have been getting the bulk of agricultural subsidies and agricultural procurement. They are out to protect their narrow vested interest rather than the general interest, let alone the farm interest. Why has the Supreme Court intervened? Frankly, if you ask me, this is a question of politics. The Supreme Court has not come in because this is a judicial matter. The Supreme Court has come in because it wants to help the government find a way out. And so it's asked for this particular expert committee to be formed. This expert committee, like a great many other expert committees, will come to the conclusion that the kind of farm laws that we had are in fact what we need. You can tweak them here, you can tweak them there. But the farm laws that we have are the outcome of many expert committees of the past. They have not fallen from heaven. And you cannot expect a new expert committee to come out with something different. So I think there's a certain amount of politics. The Supreme Court and government are trying themselves to find some way out of a political impasse. Will the farmers let them get away with it? I doubt it. The truth is that in democracies across the world, farmer groups have got together and blackmailed governments into getting all kinds of subsidies and all kinds of special considerations not available to other professions. In many, many countries, farmers are getting double the world price, third world price. In some cases, in Korea, I am told they're getting 10 times the world price because they are able to indulge in these tactics and ultimately the government gives them. I will only say this. It is one thing to give in to these farmers and have these very, very high prices if farmers are 2% or 5% of the population. If they're 50% of the population, it's not wrong. I would also say at the end of it all, who is to decide what is to be produced? I mean, ultimately, this is the job of government. It is another matter that you have this very damaging rice-wheat rotation in the northwest of India. It helped initially at the time of the Green Revolution. It helped India to become self-sufficient in food, helped India become surplus. But it has been at the cost of huge subsidies for power, which have resulted in these Punjab and Haryana farmers. They've been over-pumping, the aquifers are disappearing, all the shallow drinking water wells ran dry, you couldn't get. Then all the shallow tube wells ran dry. Only the richest farmers with the deepest cells are still continuing, and they will finish off the environment if they carry on this fashion. On top of which, then they are burning their stubble between two crops, and they're killing, literally killing people with the pollution. I mean, the idea that these are some kind of poor victims who need to be mollycoddled. They are the most mollycoddled farmers in the whole of India. They do not represent all farmers of India. They come from an area where land prices are, 50 lakhs to 1 crore an acre, at least if you go into Punjab. So even a 2-acre farmer is a crorepati. So please, let's not pretend that these guys are anything more than the normal bunch of farmers who in many democracies have managed to hold up situations and more or less pressurize governments into special facilities. That is what is happening. That's the politics of it. As far as the rights and wrongs are concerned, many expert committees have come to the conclusion that we need reforms along the new lines. And I am pretty sure that the new committee will come to that same conclusion. And I'm pretty sure that the farmers will reject what the new committee suggests.
You know, it's a very interesting take, and Swami, as usual, speaks his mind completely. It's something which is not a very popular take right now, because even the most, I would say, you know, economically right-wing politician would never admit this. But Devinder Sharma, how do you look at the situation, looking at how Swami has described it? Do you think that this is a way out to just diffuse the situation? Do you think farmers should come forward and talk to this committee at all? Because at the end of the day, a solution needs to be found. Going forward, the question is where the solution will be.
No denying that the government, the Supreme Court, as well as the farmers want an amicable solution. There's no denying about it. And there are also no denying that farmers have been shortchanged all these decades. In fact, there are several studies which show us that at least for the last 4 decades, farmers in India have been underpaid, and farmers in India, they have been great injustice done to them, and they have been ignored by the policymakers because the economic design wants to sacrifice agriculture for the sake of the industry. In fact, much of the budget goes for the industry in this country. In fact, industry is the one which has been sucking the kind of resources that the country has, and we have never visualized and seen that how much subsidies go into corporates. They thrive on subsidies. I remember when I used to say that industry thrives on subsidies, I was called as anti-development on the television channels. But I'm glad when the Prime Minister mentioned that the incentives for growth that the industry gets are actually subsidies. I think it should become clear to people that this industry has actually sucked the resources meant for the masses in such a massive manner that there's huge inequality that the country is witnessing. Look at it. Anything happens in the world, the industry is at a loss, there is economic stimulus given. Then anything happens, the industry is not able to perform, there is an NPA which is written off very easily. How much of NPA? I was looking at a report today by the Reserve Bank of India that the NPAs are now going to double.